4 fall domestic thrillers coming up. If you don't want to hear anything in the ballpark of a spoiler, skip this chapter. Got it. Hey everybody, welcome to Book Talks with Miss Thomas. If you're new here and you like hearing about great books, please subscribe. If you are returning, yay, welcome back. In this video, I want to tell you about 4 really fun domestic thrillers that I read. So if you know me at all, you know thrillers are my favorite genre. So I've read a couple of fun things this fall, and I'm going to do another video on cozy fall reads, but I'm going to start off this October with fall thrillers. So the first one that I read was called Wrong Place, Wrong Time. And that is told from the point of view of a lawyer named Jen. And Jen is a happily married mom of a teenage boy named Todd. And she happens to see from the window of her home Todd murder somebody that she's never seen before, and she's just freaked out, and she has no understanding at all of why her baby boy, her teenage son, would do such a horrific thing. And he doesn't speak on his defense. He doesn't, offer any explanation. And she runs down to the jail or the police station to try and understand. And then the next morning she wakes up and it's a completely new day, and it happens to be the day before her son murdered somebody. So she spends the day trying to figure out if there's anything she can do to prevent what she knows is going to happen tomorrow when she falls asleep. And the next day she wakes up and it's the day before her son murders somebody, and so forth. She time travels backward. Eventually she thinks maybe she can get to the root of why her son kills this person. And so as the days go backward, she's trying to solve the case, tries to understand why Todd did what he did. And of course, as the story unfolds, you find out her marriage isn't exactly what she thought it was. Her son isn't exactly who she thought he was. She's not even the person she thought she was. And so there's a lot of things. Her father isn't the man she thought he was. There's a lot of little things that unfold as each day backward comes to pass, and she tries to solve the case. And I know this has been done before. I think like Back to the Future. But I think what makes this book especially good is that the characters are so well developed and so relatable. I could really identify with Jen. I'm not a power attorney, but I know what it's like to have a teenager and to not understand that teenager. And I know what it's like to want to be friends with the other moms and to try and just find my niche in the world as a working mom. And so I definitely could relate to Jen. I really enjoyed the book for that. And I enjoyed all the different characters in the book. So I definitely would recommend Wrong Place, Wrong Time. Sherry LaPena. I don't know. Sherry LaPena is hit or miss for me. This one I would say was a miss. I read Not a Happy Family by Sherry LaPena. I did finish it. It was thrilling. There was a domestic thriller component to it. The problem I had with the book was I didn't like or care about a single character in the entire book. And again, I've said this before on my channel. If I don't like the characters, I'm not really going to invest. But Not a Happy Family was a pleasant enough audiobook, especially since I could sort of drive my car and go about my business, clean my clothes and clean my house as I was listening to it. It was a nice enough way to pass the time, but I didn't care for the characters in Not a Happy Family. They were all very privileged, very spoiled, rich people. But it was a pretty interesting whodunit kind of thing. So if you're down for that, if you're interested in just trying to solve the mystery, you might like Not a Happy Family. So I'll tell you about it. There is this wealthy guy named Fred and his wife Sheila, and they are murdered on Easter Sunday, apparently after their Easter Sunday family dinner. And they have 3 children. They have Catherine, who is a dermatologist. She's like the favorite. She's very materialistic. She's really preoccupied with how she appears to the outside world. She wants the favoritism of her parents. And then there's Dan, the son, who runs the company with the father, Fred. And then there's this artist, this really like obnoxious. She's the youngest, and she's just very spoiled and goes out of her way to be rude and offensive, and seems to go for a lot of shock value. And she's the youngest. So they have a family dinner, and, you know, as the story unfolds, you find out the family dinner didn't go well, but apparently none of their family dinners go well. And the parents obviously were brutally murdered at the family dinner. And so which one of the children did it? Or was it somebody else? Like the guy Fred that was murdered, he had this sister, this weird aunt who swears that she was in the will, but, you know, was she in the will? You know, it seems contradictory to what the children thought. And then there was this housekeeper who was also a nanny who was very protective of the children. And it was just this creepy, close-knit family. And the level of evil in these siblings was just so repulsive. I mean, for example, you find out that the parents were murdered and a couple of different siblings were there at one point or another. And one of the siblings actually took the earrings right out of the mother's ears after she'd been brutally murdered. And she claims she didn't do it. She just wanted the earrings. And, you know, and then she went home and acted as if she had no idea her parents were murdered because she figured one of her siblings did it and she wanted to protect them. So she kept quiet. You know, I mean, that's the kind of characterization that you're dealing with Not a Happy Family. And I didn't like it at all. At the other end of the pendulum, you have a very loyal wife in The Last Thing He Told Me. And that wife is Hannah. Hannah is an artist who's newly married to this guy, Owen. And Owen has a teenage daughter named Bailey. Now, Bailey is not Hannah's daughter, but Hannah loves Bailey as the stepmother. And so she's married to Owen when Owen disappears. And someone delivers a note to Hannah that says, "Protect her." And Hannah thinks, it must mean Bailey. You know, she's supposed to protect Bailey, but she doesn't know what happened, and where is Owen? And so she reflects throughout the book on her relationship with Owen and her relationship with Bailey, and she tries to find Owen. And turns out Owen was mixed up in some kind of like a pyramid scheme, and he disappeared. So, you know, is he really guilty or is he a victim? Hannah trusts Owen completely, and she just wants to help him, and she wants to protect his daughter. I have to say the daughter, Bailey, was a ginormous brat. And I like teenagers. I teach teenagers, and I just could not stomach that girl. She was really spoiled. She was mean to Hannah. But for whatever reason, Hannah was very loyal to Bailey and continued with Bailey. And the two of them forged a unique new relationship without Owen and had to, you know, go about looking for Owen. And that was a good book. I enjoyed that one. And of course, that's no surprise. The Last Thing He Told Me has been around for a while and comes highly recommended. One by One by Frida McFadden. That one, I have to tell you, none of these books are Christian books. This one was especially creepy, and I almost DNF'd it because the book, I listened to an audiobook, and it begins with the character Anonymous. And Anonymous has these chapters where Anonymous talks about how someone is going to die on this trip that you know they're all getting ready to take. And as the story unfolds, there are 6 people, 3 couples who are going on a getaway together to this really nice place, like a resort, a nice place. But as they're on their way there, the car breaks down and they're stranded in the middle of the woods and they're trying to survive. And various chapters are told by various points of view of the 6 different people in the story. I especially liked the chapters about Claire and Noah. Claire and Noah were an unhappily married couple. They'd been married for a while, but they've just stopped liking each other altogether, and they stay together for the children. And that was an interesting dynamic, those two. I was kind of invested in those two. As far as the Anonymous thing, there were a lot of dark things about Anonymous. You found out some really horrible things happened to Anonymous as a child, and it was just an icky, creepy book. And I'm not sure the narration was all that reliable anyway. I'm still not sure. I finished the book and I'm not sure how much of what was said in the book was actually true, or maybe told from a perspective that sort of slanted the truth a little bit. I don't know. I guess if I had to, I'd give it maybe 3 stars. There was that creepy factor in there. It took it a little too far for me. In the beginning, Anonymous is talking about how their favorite number is 6 because, of the devil. And I should have DNF'd it then. But I was really interested in the author, Frida McFadden. I've been trying to find out if that's an author that would appeal to me. And in this particular case, I finished it. I was interested enough in the story to follow along and find out, who Anonymous was. That's the other thing, there's 6 people and one of them is Anonymous. And so I wanted to know which character was the one that was planning to kill the other ones on the trip. And so you do find that out in the end. That was surprising. There were a few things in the book that surprised me. So it was, I guess it was an interesting enough read, but if you're a discerning Christian, some things may have gone a little too far. I'm not really sure I would recommend that one. Okay, so those are my domestic thrillers for the month of October. The next video I'm going to do are cozy fall reads. I'm really enjoying reading for October, and I have a bunch more books to tell you about in the next video. So hang in there and I'll be back.
I thought she'd never stop talking.